Hello everybody and welcome in this new tutorial. In this tutorial I want to show to you how it's possible to interact and send messages between a game object and another game object. So I will just start as usual with a plane, and I will put on this plane some color, just a material like my typical blue. And I will go with blue color, and okay, so I will just depict it. Then I will add a cube on 0, 0, 0. I will scale it a little, so I have the typical man shape, 2 meters tall and 1 and 1. That's for placeholding stuff into Unity. I will use also another color for this. I will create a material that will make it maybe green. Yeah, okay. So I will choose the green, and yeah, I will apply. Perfect. So what do we want to do? I say, what we want to do is that I want to be able, for example, to activate this cube based on something that happens on another game object. Let's imagine that I have a little enemy object, like for example maybe a little sphere that I can put somewhere, yeah, behind, like, yeah, here. Yes, so now we have a sphere, and our target cube. I will color also the sphere. Maybe I will do it red. Okay, so the albedo will be full red, and I will apply this to my sphere. This time I will just drop into the default material tab. So saving. If we look at the game, well, nothing happens. You can see that we have a little cut of the sphere. That's why the camera has a clipping plane very near the sphere. To avoid this distortion effect, you can put the camera a little back, so now you can see, we can see better the sphere. What do we want to achieve is if I move the sphere toward the cube, for example, when I hit the cube, I would like that the cube somehow react, like making some kind of a little explosion, just reacting. So we know how inside the script, a game object, we can be aware that something else happened. We can do this in many ways. There is a messaging system inside Unity that gives us two methods, essentially, the send message and the broadcast message. Let's see how can we use this for our purposes. So first of all, I will add a movement to my sphere. So I will script in it something like targeting, and this script, as always, I will create a folder, script, keep it always very clean and tidy, the assets folder. It's very important to maintain organized all our games. Yeah, that's perfect. So script, targeting, double click, and let's open Visual Studio. So what we do is yeah, more or less the same thing that we did on last tutorial. I will just command the sphere to go towards the cube. So I need the cube. Public game object target. And I need also to know where I am. So I will use the transform me, and in the start I will associate to the position of me my current position. So I will do get component transform, and it will get the transform coordinates of the component associated to this game object. Regarding the target, we can go into our sphere. I see that there is no game object here as target, so I can take the cube and I can put it as a target. The public property, as I explained on last tutorial. So now we have the target and me, so I can just update. As you know, we will use the move towards, so we can do me dot position is vector3 dot move towards, so my position and the target position, and yeah, we have to pass the delta, the space that we cover for every frame. As we know, I will make a private float speed that, yeah, 3, for example 3f, and I can do it here something like float delta is equal to this speed multiplied by time dot delta time. So we have a speed that's a meter over second multiplied by second multiplied by time. So space over time multiplied by time, time and time deletes, so just remain a space. That's exactly, so we have the proof that this delta effectively represent a space. For more explanations, please refer to a physics book, just normal first year mechanics book, Newtonian movement books. So this should be enough. I mean, this just move the sphere toward the cube. Let's see it. So I will just play it. Yeah, perfect. And as you can see, it remains inside the sphere because reach the point. Good. So now I want that my cube react. How can I do this? So I can check if I am, for example, very near with my sphere arrive very near the target cube. Maybe I can just detonate. I can just yeah, make some kind of an termination rule. So I will write a private void detonate, and this I can call when I am very near. So I do something like if vector3 dot distance between me dot position and target dot transform dot position is less than a certain amount, for example 1 centimeter float, then detonate. Okay, so this happens when we are near enough. The only problem is that this will detonate every frame, every update. To avoid this, we can, and to detonate just once, we can make something like a bool variable is detonating, that is false. And here I check if is detonating is true, then just return and do nothing in this update method. Otherwise, in normal situation, continue to move. How can I set this detonating? I check here if we have enough near, then I can do bracket, and inside the block first I put is detonating to true, and then I ask for a detonation. Good. So now it will detonate when it goes enough near. We can see it with the debug dot log in the console. We can write something like detonating. We can just check that everything works as expected by going activating the console here and playing. Yeah, so it's detonating and detonating just once. That's perfect. Now I will try to send a message when I am detonating. This is very usual. This is much more common than can be taught, and it is available. This is a messaging behavior that is diffused in a lot of special important, very big simulation frameworks like DIS, for example, Distributed Interactive Simulation, or HLA, High-Level Architecture. All these systems use the messaging of the detonation of a collision or whatever, so an event. They broadcast in some kind of messages, so that every object in the simulation can take this message and do what he wants. He can just discard or he can use. Unity is not such a deep system because you cannot really broadcast. When you send a message, you have always to send to a specific element, but nevertheless we can find all the game objects that are present in the scene by filling an array of game objects that I can call hitables, for example, that is given by, okay, how can I find? Here I associated just by putting a object directly into the editor, associating the target. Here I can do something like game object dot find all the game objects, for example, with a specific tag. This is useful. I can also find all the objects, but I don't want to have hundreds of object hitables. Maybe I just want some, maybe I want just to be able to hit enemies. So I will use find game objects. So this makes me available an array with tag, and well, we can call this tag, for example, vulnerable. Yeah. Yes. So I have now a array of all the objects that have this tag, and I can add the tag to the cube by going here on target. I can choose one of these tags, but I already added before this vulnerable. Otherwise I can go here in the add the tag and just add the new tag. But I already did it, so I will just select now the vulnerable tag for the cube. This means that this object will be vulnerable to the sphere. What we want to happen, for example, to the cube, let's see, I can add some effect just to demonstrate. I can add a particle system. Yeah, something like that. Very easy. Just I will make a little more nice. I will, first of all, always remember to remove the check on play on awake, otherwise it will start with the effect. But instead we want to script it to play when we want. And what can we do also? Yes, we can eventually reduce the size of the object that is used for the effect. Yeah, that's a little more nice. Yeah. 5 seconds is the duration, and I think that's pretty enough. 5 seconds. Yeah. Okay. To avoid that cycle, finish the 5 seconds, start again, you have to remove the looping, and that's what we do now. Okay, so essentially it will play only once. So let's see how it plays. 5 seconds, and then stops. Okay, this is a particle system. So I want to add then here a code that will enable in the cube, will play this particle effect. So I add a component and I go into new script. I add the cube manager script, and I will now find in the assets, I move this into the script, and I will then open the cube manager. Now I have the targeting and the cube manager. So what I want is now that in the targeting, in the sphere, when I arrive, I want to send the message, and in the cube manager, I want to get the message. To send the message, I can cycle with the for each snippet. Tab will create automatically the snippet form. So var, item, I would say game object, in hitables. What we want to do? We want to do go dot. I can send a message to him. So this is a game object. I can send a message, and I can send a method name. That means that if there is a method called in this way that I will write now on the destination game object, that method will be executed. It's like an event, essentially. It's an event system. We can also use the normal .NET event systems, and it's far better. But this is embedded in Unity, so we have to know that exists. Send a message, so I will do something like I don't know, like inflict damage or get damage. Yeah, it's nicer, better. So get damage. The send message has various possibility here. We can just use a method, or we can send an object that contains, for example, a state, a value, whatever we want to send. For example, the amount of damage that we want to deliver. We can use this if we want. And also we can have these send message options. Essentially, we can have two options. We can choose to um, raise an error if there are no receivers, or just send the message without any interest in if there is or not any receiver in the game active in this moment. So these are the various opportunities. I will just send the command to run the get damage. So I now go in the cube and will write the method get damage. It must or we don't have any kind of like here, any kind of parameter send. If we have a parameter send, then we have to add a game object also here in the received parameters. For example, if we have this kind of messaging, we want to send also so the sphere, we want to give the object sphere. We can send, for example, game object. We can send me dot game object. This way, also the sphere is sent, and obviously we have to write here game object color, whatever. This is the way it can work. So how can I now react? Okay, I said that I have the particle system, so I can go and I can have a particle system. Yes, I will get from the particle system component attached to myself. It's a cube, and then I will just play. Okay, so we are called by the send message. We are informed that something is happening and that we are forced to run the method get damage. The method get damage will be run, and the particle system will be played. Let's see now how it works. And yeah, so we got the detonating, we got the message. We can also debug if we want in the cube. We can do debug.log hi, I'm being hit. Okay, or I have been hit, probably better English, I suppose. Okay, let's see here in the console. Yeah, so the first message comes from the sphere, the second message comes from the cube. The second message has been run because we received a broadcasted message inside the Unity game engine framework. That's all for today. Thanks for having listened to this tutorial, and hope to see you on next tutorials. So see you. Ciao.